It's time to gather together. Hi there, I'm Yelta, and I'll be buying the first round while we chat about Final Fantasy XIV. This is episode 156. Pull up a chair and join us. On the menu tonight, Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, Art of the Revolution, Eastern Memories pre-orders begin. Announcing the Wolves' Den, episode 9. Join us for Duty Commenced, episode 28 on March 15th. Dengeki Online Interview with Lead Designer Takeo Suzuki. New tabletop gaming items have been added to the tabletop section in the Square Enix online store. A reminder about the letter from the producer, part 50 at the Tokyo Fan Festival. And we have Tales of Woe from the TOS. But first, before we get into any of that exciting stuff, let's shoot the shit. What has been going on this week? Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Yelta.
Hello.
First off, I'm taking a big frickin' shot of Jameson. Drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So here we are. The reason I'm doing that is I got nothing. I hardly did shit this week.
Didn't do much in the way of the Final Fantasy XIV gaming?
I'm terrible. No, I just had other, I guess, priorities, IRL stuff. This is my last week at work. Been trying to kind of focus in on work a little bit, and then I come home and spending time with my son. We drew pictures the other day, and we've been playing with his toys, and it's just, you gotta do some real life stuff now and again. But
dad life.
I did play tonight, dad life. Yeah, I got this beautiful dad bod. I'm sporting these days. It's great. Thanks, McChickens and large fries from McDonald's. Not a sponsor.
Summer's coming. You can get outside.
I gotta get the summer bod, Yelta. I don't know how to do it. I guess shots of Jameson and drinking beer, which is what I'm gonna take a sip of now.
Drink some more rum and soda. Yeah.
I need some Kraken.
Ooh.
So release the
I
Kraken.
do have the big bottle of Kraken. I came back to my computer desk tonight, and apparently my husband thought I needed some good stuff. So,
well, thank you, Wolf. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is what I need to get me back into the primal farming. I've been, when you're away, you get a little timid, you get a little scared to jump into some of those things. I mean, the things I have been jumping into is I've been practicing my astrologian and preparing my body for that dancer announcement here in a couple of weeks. And
we hope.
I hope, fingers crossed, for those ground hots. That's what I'm hoping for. But I played Astrologian tonight. I was going to put this in the shout-outs, but I'm just going to shout it out now. I queued in Cast Protect, and a Katie Kieran from Ultros, what's up, Katie, said, yo, I love Gather Together, by the way, heart. So, very cool.
Nice.
It was really cool when I died on the last boss because I was standing in the wrong place. And then the summoner took 30 seconds to raise me. But that's okay. We got it together. We didn't wipe. Got up. Used my cards. There's a different flow to Astrologian, and I think some of my hotkeys or binds or really my macros, they don't go off the way I want them to. I'm gonna have to tweak those again. I use a lot of macros on Astrologian, and the problem with macros on healing, especially Astrologian, is I use mouse over macros, and I use the party for doing that, the party menu. And those work pretty well on White Mage because I can target the boss and then do the healing through the menu. But when I'm moving, healing, and using cards, sometimes my cards fuck up, and I'm putting the balance or the spear on myself, and I'm like, oh, it's not what I meant to do. And really, it's getting quicker at the cards or focusing on the healing and using the cards when this is a dungeon, right? I mean, I'm not like trying to be world first. I think I could probably, with some practice, do Savage content or maybe Primal content with an Astrologian. But sometimes I'm shitty at the cards, and I don't mean my placement of the cards. Like, I think I know what characters get what jobs should get what type of card. But sometimes I think I goof. I goof on doing that. And there's just a lot of gimmicks on Astrologian that I tend to forget. Like I'll use like the version of Medica when I should have used the bubble and I tend to forget my big star circle. See, I'm so good at astrologian, I remember all the names of the spells.
Glowy shit. That means I don't have to heal.
The glowy shit.
If you're my co-healer, I don't have to heal.
Earthly dominance and I don't know what the fuck they're called. Sounds sexual, right? So I don't know. But bring me my dancer, or I guess my geomancer. But I really want my dancer, and I want to be able to put some healing tiles on the floor, maybe something a la Ragnarok where the squares around me light up, little disco floors light up, and you get healed if you stand in them. They're not going to do anything that cool. Probably not. I wish they would. I'd love to see some red and yellow tiles start lighting up, and people start boogieing on my dance floor.
It's gonna be
and they
Saturday
get
Night
healed
Fever on the dance floor.
Hell yeah, that's what I
gotcha.
want. I don't know that if that's going to happen. Beyond that, I've been playing other games. I've been playing Wargroove quite a bit. I've been enjoying that on Switch. I really haven't been playing too much more than that. I've been playing my Switch just a hell of a lot lately, and that's a fun thing to do when I have to run around the house chasing my son. And, it helps me in bed when he's finally asleep. I can lay in the bed and play some Wargroove. And that's the type of game, I've heard this from others as well, that's the type of game that when you finish a mission, you're like, let me just see what the next one is. And then 45 minutes later, it's like, let me see what the next one is. And
just one more.
Just one more. Just one more. What else? The only other cool video game thing I've done this week is I rediscovered the new DuckTales. I was reading some tweets and somebody linked Della's Lullaby. So if you're not hip with the new DuckTales that rebooted in 2017, it includes Donald. Donald's running around with them, but there's always this, where's Huey and Dewey and Louie's mom? And that's Della Duck, and they, in the third season, have really been putting some effort into Della. Is this a spoil? I guess this is spoiler, but I'm seeing this all over Twitter. So if you're like not through season 3 of DuckTales, the reboot, close your ears for like 30 seconds. La 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 la. They were using her with the moon theme from the Capcom DuckTales game from back like 89, 88, 89, 90. And I heard this lullaby she was singing, and it's the fucking moon theme. And I was like, oh my God, why am I not watching DuckTales reboot? At one time, Senna and I had watched it, and we're like, oh, I don't know if I like this. And I only watched like half of the first episode. And I think what really turned me off was Huey, Dewey, and Louie had normal voices. And I guess I've just come to the realization that really it's just Donald has a speech impediment. and everybody else can speak clearly. And I just had to get over that point. And now that I'm there, it's amazing. I laugh my ass off when I watch it. So I'm gonna continue on with it. And I think that they've gone through a third season. I hope they do a fourth season, but I think they're still continuing the third season. I hope it continues. So if you're interested in the link up between Capcom and the new animated series, stay tuned. They're doing that thing. So yeah, cool stuff, nostalgic type stuff. So I really don't know what else. It's not Final Fantasy. None of that was Final Fantasy 14 related. I don't know what to say. Listeners, give me reason to play. Come tell us something. Leave us some dadgum comments.
I'm going to tell you right now, we still need mounts. People need mounts.
That's so true, and I need a Seiryu clear.
Yeah.
I still have not done that.
It's an easy and pretty fun fight. I could call that fight out.
Now, my wife logged in the other day, and she even commented, yes.
We didn't that we didn't trash the free company chest.
We didn't trash the free company chest. So I hope that's a portend of good tidings for her coming on more often, and maybe we can do some. She does miss primal farming. She misses primal farming. I think there's a point where we've kind of said, we'll see what happens with Savage when, we got a baby who can sleep through the night without, having us nearby. And when we get to that point, maybe we can try. She always tells me, you can go do Savage, but I'm like, I've been so out of the game. Let's see what Shadowbringers bring. And maybe I'll feel better about it then. But for now, I think it's getting back into the groove with some primal farming and maybe some other fun stuff like you did this past week. So I'll kick it over to you. I know you did some cool stuff.
I did lots of stuff. One other thing that, if you don't have a bunch of time or whatever, Brock's Crossworld Link Shell is really constantly running stuff. And it's, for you and me, it's pretty much easy stuff. But, I'll take the free bonus poetics and I'll take the free, XP on a job that I'm leveling or something. So, and it's kind of fun to watch these people who are new, who are still going through the game, and they just did Praetorium. I didn't get to go to that. What's the one right before Praetorium? But they're adorable in there because they're like every 5 because like every 5 seconds there's like a small cutscene, And we're just trying to keep talking them down. We're like, no, but back at the eye level we were when we did this fight, it actually hurt some. So, but I did do some stuff. I did. Somebody decided that what was supposed to be a mount farm. We did go into O4S. Now, mind you, I can't technically join a farm party because I never cleared. Do you remember that? I never cleared. Y'all we all, and that's back when you and Cinder were still raiding, and we all went in and we did the fight and I happened to be out of town the weekend you guys won it. And then we went in back in like one other time and it's like, it just didn't happen. So it just didn't happen. So anyway, I still hate that fight. I don't know why. I cannot, and I know it's not as hard as it looks, but apparently I get too distracted by how it looks. If you go in there as healer, there's only like 3 things to remember and there's not even that much healing. So I did get the clear. We were going to move on to a farm party. I really want that mount, right? That's a cool ass mount.
It is pretty cool. Yeah. And I was the one who won it when we cleared it. So I've been rocking that mount for a long time. I like it.
But then we were going to do a farm, and I was at that point just, how it's exhausting raiding, and then farm afterwards, and it just didn't happen. I actually bowed out. I'm like, guys, I can't concentrate. I like stack markered on top of people. Again, I don't know. I just get overwhelmed and confused. So, and I think by then I was drunk anyway. So, I did not get a mount. We did clear it once. We went back in, some of us, on Sunday. We didn't get a clear, but we took, again, Belle put up a clear/farm party, but we had 2 people with us before we even started the party finder, I think, that had never seen the inside of it. So for me, most of it, I actually, that was good for me though, because I got more comfortable in each phase up till like the end, and it wasn't me wiping us most of the time. So that's good.
Good.
So, because I do want to go in there, farm it and whatever. And the poor other healer, never been in Savage anything before, it sounds like. Ever. So it's like, this is like a huge jump. They were getting frustrated. I was glad when we called it quits, honestly. I think they'll be okay. They were doing really, really well. But that's a hard fight, and especially if you've never done anything like that before. That's a lot of shit, So I hope that doesn't scare them off. They were doing really, really well. I thought. And we did not clear. But both nights we had to go through, we gathered our friends. We put it up in the party finder. You'd get someone. Now this was supposed to be like a farm or clear/farm. I think it was actually in the party finder. Bella specifically put in there, don't go in blind. Please have at least watched a video, right? And then I think after that party, Bella relinked for us the visual guide. I do so much better with those little graphs, right? So some of those graphs are really good. And I studied those the next day too, and it was like, okay, it's really only like 4 things I have to worry about. But we had like someone who obviously did not know what to do. We had to kick a tank. I think we went in. We couldn't even clear to the second part of the fight, right? So that first part's really easy. And like you have to like actively not be right now. It's really easy because we outgear it so much and whatever, and there's not really that many mechanics, and you kill it so fast that you don't even get to the second set of black holes.
That's great.
Right? So you really only have to handle 1 set of black holes. And that's really the part that's janky to begin with. I know it took a long time for me to figure out how to
Yeah,
handle those.
I want to say I remember the second set of black holes wiping us a lot.
Yeah, and you don't even see them. So we I think we kicked a tank. I think the next time we kicked a damage dealer, and then the third time we went in, we fought it for a good long time and actually cleared it that first night. But then the second time we did it, the other day, we went in, and of course the first tank that joins us is that one we kicked the other night. But we gave him a chance, right? We're like, okay, it's been like 3 days, 2 or 3. It had been a few days. We're like, we had told him to study up. So when, get him back in the group, I think we kicked him again. We gave it many, many tries. There was a lot of communication in the in-game, text communication about, have you seen this? How far have you seen? Well, first of all, he wouldn't even answer the fucking question. Belle asked him outright, how far have you gotten in this fight? Or no, did you go watch a guide / read a video? The other way around. Have you watched a guide or read a video? I said it again. Anyway, so the fight is going on and he's dying to everything. And Belle outright asked him, and the guy's like, well, I've seen the second phase. And some of us are on Discord and we're like, that's not the question Belle asked. And Belle typed in, that's not what I asked. He's like, did you, read a guide or watch a video? And he came back with some other bullshit answer. And it's like, that's not what we asked. We want to know, have you studied up on the fight at all? Otherwise, you either need to get in, we probably should have just we didn't ask anyone else into Discord. Maybe that would have helped, but he didn't know what he was doing. Did not know what he was doing. And, and then when we got rid of him and got a different tank, that tank knew what they were doing, and they just had to, figure out some tanking specifics. Like, the guy was doing, one thing wrong, and Belle just corrected him, and after that, it was fine. But both of these times, we had to, rebuild the party, not make it past, the striking dummy portion of the fight to get to the good stuff, and people are already, our people are new and are well, we're wiping, and it's discouraging because we're like, really, it's not that hard. And then I'm, laughing, and I'm like, yeah, we haven't even gotten to the hard part. So wow. Wow. It was okay. I think a couple more times in there, especially if it's with a decent party and whatnot, I think I'll probably be okay. But even going back into Shinryu, I was scared to join farm parties until I went back and I joined a couple clear parties just to remember what all the abilities look like and the order of attacks and whatever. So yeah, it's okay. I want that mount though, so I'm gonna have to go and do it. I also did a lot of Palace of the Dead because I am leveling my samurai. It was 50 or something, probably. I don't know. It's now 60. I had some real fun Palace of the Dead parties. That were just kind of you want to get through as fast as possible, but people are chatting, and a couple of people were asking questions. One person must have been brand new and with someone else. They're like, what job is whatever? And they're like, oh, that's a red mage. So it was cute, right? And I'm not, as long as it's not a wipe, and as long as no one's being an asshole, I don't really care if it takes, what does it take to get through 15 minutes, to get through 20 minutes? It's under half an hour, probably.
It's not bad at all.
Right? But as long as it's not, if it took 40 minutes, I don't care that much. As long as it's, being fun. But I had parties that just, would not open any chests. I had parties that would not look... the thing said that there was a coffer on that floor, the banded coffer or whatever. And I'm like, can I go look for it? They're all, standing on the circle. I'm like, I understand it's XP, but there's also stuff worth money in those things still. But my worst story was last night. I only needed 2 more runs to 60, and I went in there. And now, mind you, a couple of my parties last night were 2 DPS, a tank, and a healer. Those parties were kind of cool because it's it just goes zoom, zoom, and you can kind of fight stuff but still, you could branch off or whatever. But you still had someone who could heal you if you got pox on you and you didn't get a thing or whatever. And a couple of the runs I did were 4 damage dealers. and those were fine too. Some people were scared, and they're like, what do we do? Who's going to tank it? And we're like, just bum rush it. And the red mage is like topping people off if it gets, bad or whatever. But then I got one run where I triggered a luring trap, and the rest of the party was just standing there, so I just walked over to the party. There's only 5 mobs. I probably could have killed them myself. And it was 3 damage dealers, including me, and a white mage. The white mage types, thanks for the aggro, and then refused to heal me for the rest of the floors.
What a bitch.
I know. I'm like, really? It's a luring trap. It's not like I ran around, gathered up all the mobs, and tried to kite them to you to kill you.
So this was Garloge Citadel that you were in, right?
Yeah. I was running a train. Oh, my God. It was just... I'm like, seriously? And they purposely... They wouldn't even cast an AoE heal. They would heal the other damage dealers. The other 2 damage dealers she would heal. But she wouldn't even give me a regen when I had pox at one point. Well, mind you, I keep some potions on me. I keep, I've got second wind, and I think I've got one other ability that will heal me on top of the one that I think, is it when you do DPS you get health back? So I didn't need her to heal me, but it's like, man, there were a couple times I was like at, 200 hit points, and it's like, you could cast a regen. I don't know. I don't know why people are such assholes. I don't think I did anything wrong.
Sounds like you deserved it, Yelta.
I know. It's fucking Palace of the Dead. The faster we get out of there, the better, right? For the most part. I don't know. I did do, like I said, I went with Brock's Crossworld Link Shell, and I actually went in as Samurai because it was, level 50 content. So that's always nice to actually get to run a dungeon. I did queue up for the vault and waited in, because that's the highest level dungeon I could have queued up for last night. That was
Great
the first
dungeon.
thing. And it's a good dungeon, right? And it's beautiful. Love the music. I thought maybe I'll get some drops or whatever. Well, it doesn't really matter because you hit 60 and then you can go buy tombstone drops anyway, or tombstone.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's I went in and I was even counting numbers real fast, and I wasn't even doing that bad. I did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So and no one wiped. There were a couple times where I stood in AoE, mostly because I'm not used to looking for them right under the boss. So there was I don't know there's the AoEs that, player characters cast, and under it was an AoE that the boss cast, and I stood it and got hurt by one once, and then I felt bad, but it's like, oh man, I guess, I'm not used to being that close to the mobs. I play ranged magic or healing, and so I felt kind of bad, but I didn't die or cause a wipe or anything, but it's a learning curve. It really is a learning curve. But I got 3 more after, I got 3 more to get to 70 after Samurai, so probably a lot of Palace of the Dead in my future.
And then you got, 3 more that you have to level?
Yeah,
or...
I have 4
okay.
in all that aren't 70. And they're all in their the other Samurai.
You have time.
60, I know, Samurai 60, and then the rest are all. And then I should have just. I got to remember to do my Beast Tribe dailies.
Oh yeah.
Because especially when if I want to queue up for a roulette, so I get the roulette bonus, I could do the Beast Tribe dailies while I'm waiting for that queue, because those queues are long. Oh my God, are they long? And then I also forgot that even guild hests, the first time you do them on a character, you get bonuses. But I probably never did them on Samurai. What level is Samurai when you start? 50?
50.
Well, yeah. So I probably haven't done any of those. I could at least get some bonuses out of it. So, but that was my week. I did play. I played some. I think I did join a Seru farm party, and they farmed 4 times and quit. That kind of thing.
Sounds normal.
Same shit, different day. What's this text box I can't see in the notes underneath what I did this week?
Oh, well, that is our patrons.
Yay!
That I'm going to read out. And I know we don't want to just talk about Patreon all the time, but we're getting new patrons, and we got to shout out the new ones. Once a month, we shout out all the patrons that we have, but as we get new ones, we like to shout them out if they hit the $5 or more tier. So we have 2. We've got Demi, 45, and we've got Taja. Thank you for jumping on board the GT train here and joining us. We are above our goal currently, so thank you for being a part of us and listening every week. And for those that want to be a part of that. We'll have some stuff at the end of the podcast, but you can search for us on Patreon, Gather Together, or GTFFXIV, or you can go to our website, and it's got all the information there. And more so than that, send us some damn mail, folks. We need some comments. We need some feedback. If you read a Reddit post and you want us to comment on it, there were some spicy ones. There's one that we didn't. There's one we read that's some feedback from a I guess a ticket that was put in, and it's super spicy. And we're like, let's put that one on ice until. But if somebody wants us to cover one, we will happily cover it. If you are part of our Discord, we are wanting any kind of feedback. So if there's a news article or something that you are interested in, or something happens to you in game, we're getting the tales from the TOS. So if you've got any of those, send those to us too. We would love to hear from you.
Maybe we need a bar talk section where we ask them something once a week or something. We'll have to think about that.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess before we move on to the the website and all the other stuff is a couple of announcements, or at least one in particular. We are talking with good old Moogle Go Round Radio, and we are going to be recording with them on the 28th of this month, March. So that'll be after Tokyo Fan Fest, and we're going to be covering some live stuff that, well, it won't be live at that point, but we'll cover what was live. And I've been talking with Brian from Work to Game, and we may be doing, don't tell anybody, we might be doing another live broadcast like we did for the EU Fan Fest, and that is going to be the 22nd, I guess Friday, when Tokyo Fan Fest does its stuff. Stay tuned. I'll have more information if and when we do all those things. By next episode, we will have everything set in stone, but more stuff coming from us, so stay tuned. We're going to be doing more, and then we'll be getting some guests on here shortly, and when we have announcements for that, we will let you guys know. If you have a guest that you're interested in us talking to, let us know, and we'll see if, we can get somebody to come off their clouds or their towers or out of their savage runs or what have you and come join us. So let us know what you want. We'll give it to you. I want more Kraken.
Kraken. I'm going to go port. No, I'm not. Okay, you can shoot the shit. Come to the website, www.gtffxiv.com, or find us on Twitter or wherever. Let us know what you've been doing this week. Yeah, questions, comments, feedback. Just let us know what the hell you've been up to. We'd love to hear it. First round is news. Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, Art of the Revolution, Eastern Memories, pre-orders begin. Yeah, so this is a new art book. It's got 1,000 breathtaking pieces of artwork covering patches 4.2 to 4.5, has character gear designs, dungeon vistas, seasonal event illustrations, and more. It's got messages from the art team, exclusive job crystal, and minion stickers. Oh man, it's got stickers. I suddenly turned into a 9-year-old girl. Did you
Lisa Frank stickers?
I'm like, are they puffy stickers? I gotta know.
Can I put them on my Trapper Keeper?
Oh, our listeners probably are too young to even know how big.
What's a Trapper Keeper?
What's a Trapper Keeper? But anyway, there's also a minion, a dress-up Tataru, and she's adorable. She's in her little kimono.
Super cute. I love it. I'm
still angry and bitter that we do not have that. My character is a Lalafell, and I can't wear that. The new art book is set to release on May 15th, and the pre-orders are up now. It's $40. $40.
All right. A couple of things, not necessarily about the art book, but as I'm skimming through this, a thought I had. We don't have the new soundtrack yet, but I guess we're waiting for the next patch to drop before that happens, because surely they're going to try to sell us the soundtrack from 4.2 on. I guess it'd really be like 4.3 on. So when is that going to happen? I would guess sooner than later. Maybe Tokyo Fan Fest will have some announcement. So let's see if that happens. And then where is that Wily patch? Where is that Where is that patch that we're supposed to be getting, the 4.56?
It's going to be after FanFest, right? It's got to be, right?
Yeah, but didn't they say March?
They said March, so there's
late March.
But there's one day then, right? It's got to be like the Wait, if it was before FanFest, it'd be the 19th. So they're not going to do that.
26th.
It's going to be the 26th. I mean, I'm not telling people to take the day off or anything, but
I'm starting a new job that week. I can't push it.
You can't then.
They can put it on the 19th if they want to.
Yeah.
I'll be off. But no, it'll be fine. I'll accept the 26th, Yoshida. That's fine. My new job, I get all my vacation days back. So I'll be sure to make sure I take Shadowbringers off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I already have that time off. I've already requested time. And in fact, my coworker is like, well, he didn't say Yelta because that's not my real name. But he's like, but I always go out of town that week. And I'm like, and?
So am I to Eorzea.
But because he always does, and he doesn't usually worry about requesting it because I always work that week. Well, sorry, too bad. And I said, I did say it's a staycation. I said I'd be willing to bring my laptop home if I absolutely needed to, but I'm like, you know what? Our team can just have a pause. We'll plan for it, and we will get less done that sprint. That's okay.
Well, or let you play at work.
That's
Come
the
on.
answer, right? Yeah. Unblock all those sites. I can barely view any game-related anything, so. But yeah. Oh, I know. I'm eagerly awaiting the patch, but at the same time, part of me knows that it's like the last major thing before, and that's going to be the content drought, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have to do Eureka.
Then you have to do Eureka. Whether
There's
you
nothing
want
else.
to or not. Everyone is required to do Eureka at that point. No, it's just, yeah. But yeah, you know what I mean, though? It's like, I almost don't want the patch to drop because then, March, April, May, June, July.
Yeah, so they give it to us at the end of March, so really April, all of May, although I'm guessing mid to late May we will get those job announcements, all the videos and stuff, so there'll be something there. April's going to be a drought.
But there's going to be hype, but after we finish the storyline in the game, there's really, I could see like people exodusing until the patch, or until the expansion.
All right. Vast Wasteland, here we come.
Vast Wasteland, here we come. All right, announcing the Wolves Den episode 9. That's, of course, the European PvP stream.
9?
That means no.
Oh.
In German. No.
Oui.
Oui? Yes in French.
It means
right?
yes in French.
I don't know. Oh, all right. It was on Tuesday, March 12th, and I'm sure they'll post, probably tonight, they'll probably post, here's where you can go watch it afterwards. It was on Ragnarok, Chaos Data Center, the European Feast Regional Championships Finals. It was 4x4 in Hidden Gorge. Oh my god. I love that stuffed animal. You have that doggo, but I like that coco, whatever those things are called.
Uh-huh. Oh, that is cute. I want to throw that.
You want to throw that?
Yeah, I want to just sling it around. Throw it at my wife, throw it at my son. I want to just throw it around. It looks fluffy.
Violent.
I am violent, but it looks fluffy. I think it would bounce right off and
I still don't have that minion. I don't have the minion. I have the mount because you can buy that. I need to go run that dungeon to get the minion. I love those things. The little water drop like rolls up back and forth on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then join them for Duty Commenced, episode 28. That was March 15th, and I'm sure they probably have a link up already, but it was Friday, March 15th. Did you check this out? I missed it completely.
I missed it completely too, and I feel like this is something that snuck up on us. A lot of times they blow the whistle. There's a fanfare, and this one I completely missed.
I didn't see it, and we check the news once a week, but maybe it just slipped by, or maybe they forgot to put, because this was posted on the 11th for something happening the 15th.
Well, what's today's date?
Oh, this isn't yet. Why do I think it's later in the month than it is? All right, listeners.
That's why we hadn't seen it yet.
Slap me. Listeners, just slap me.
It's probably
All right.
on by the
All
time
right.
you're listening to this
No,
episode.
I was right, though. The Wolves Den thing has happened, because that's today.
That has happened, correct.
Yeah. All right. But duty commenced this Friday. You still have
I was
time.
worried.
I'm in a fucking time machine.
That Shannon being gone and they've just completely dropped the ball and are not announcing the stuff. I was scared for a moment there.
I'm just dumb. It's okay.
No.
I want to go now that I know it's at 3 p.m. when I'm still at work.
But there's something here that can help you tell the time, and that is this beautiful chocobo clock.
Oh my God, Ruby, that's what I was going to say. I need a chance to win one of these. It's a fat chocobo alarm clock with a little baby chocobo chick on its head. I don't know why, but that's kind of adorable. I don't know what I do with it. I have stuffed Spriggans. I have Moogle lamps. I have Spriggan Bank. I have all this stuff, and I just don't even know it. It's just kind of piling up. I gotta find a display case.
I got on a tear, and I went and looked up. We have all those old Final Fantasy III, the little trading arts and their jobs, and there's like a set of 8 or 6 or something. But Cinna had them all but the Dragoon.
Are those the blind box ones?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I must have drank a little bit, and I was like, let's see what's on eBay. And there was a Dragoon, and I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought the Dragoon. So I got a Dragoon comment for her, and then we can put them all on the mantelpiece. But I need this clock, too, to put right next to it.
I think we own a few things in this in the Sumisu household that were purchased via drunk shopping, I think.
Really?
Yeah, drunk shopping has happened.
I believe it.
It's a thing. Oh, my goodness. All right. And then they, of course, going to have the community commendations for the community by the community. This is where you submit your artistic works to them. There's a link for that. I still think that's so nice.
It's awesome.
We have such a fun and talented peoples. All right.
Oh, it's a running link. Like this is stuff from 2017 on it.
Yeah, they just add on to it.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is really good stuff.
All right, we have a Dengeki? No, there's no N in there. Whatever it is, online interview. It's Japanese. I can't speak it.
There's an N in it. Dengeki. Dengeki.
Interview. So this is with lead designer Takeo Suzuki. There's a Reddit translation. We were going to cover this last week, but that bitch was long.
Yeah.
So Dark Slime Z has done a translation for us. And there's an interview with the supervisor for all arts and graphics. We're gonna skim this because it's a lot of stuff about what they talk about. Was there anything in particular that stuck out to you in this?
Really, the stuff about the burn.
That's the stuff that interested me, right?
Yeah.
So I need to go run it again and check these things out because I think I missed one of the things they talked about. So what did they say? They talked about like giant. In the burn, they have this idea of a white wasteland with giant sandworm corpses laying on it. So they really use the scenery to kind of tell a story, and I think some of us missed it. You know, I didn't even really realize. You know, there's a spot in there where where they've made it so it looks like a giant round thing crashed through it, and then so there's like a story that you can't see the giant sandworm corpse right away, but as you work your way through the dungeon, you can see the giant sandworm's corpse, and you can see, the destruction it has done, ripped through a hole in the base's walls. So,
yeah, and that's been a theme for some time. When we saw maps of the burn before we had ever entered the burn, there's a giant sandworm there. Like it shows the sandworm on that map. So they've thought this out in advance, but it's really nice that they put the detail into these dungeons. I mean, I guess the caveat to that is when you only have 2 or 1 dungeon instead of 3, there should be more detail. There should be more that they do with it. But the burn being a story dungeon, it really should pop. Mm-hmm. It's not a rehash. It's not a hard mode of something. This is something that is supposed to tell a story visually, as well as part of the lore. And as you're running it, especially in the burn, it's got beautiful music, but there's an imagery that's there of like just abandonment, but destruction.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get through this as a hope. You're looking for Alpha. No, you're doing this thing, and it's they did a really, really good job on the burn. It's one of my favorite dungeons, in fact.
It's not one of my favorite dungeons, but I do like that it's got different sections, right? So you have the big, vast wasteland, and, I always like it, of course, then when the mobs make sense for being there. And they talked a little bit about this here, too, where, it's picturesque, but you have to make sure you can see our AoE markers on the ground, and you gotta make sure you can see, the mobs and, things like that. Things make sense. Go ahead.
As a summoner, I just love putting dots on like all 25 mobs that, the tanks huddle everything together.
Oh
I know we get pissed sometimes at the ones that are just tank and spank and you pull everything to the line or whatever, but there's something that's good. It's a good feeling when you put dots on like 18 different enemies in one little corner and they're just all whittling away.
Have you tanked the burn? I've tanked the burn, and those things
I'm sure it's a bitch when they push each other.
Those large mobs are an asshole to all get together, and I feel like I take 20 minutes to get the mobs all in one spot, but no one's complained so far. But yeah, it is fun. Well, this made me think of other dungeons that I like, honestly. And honestly, I really like the original Satasha, especially when you get towards the end of the dungeon, and you can see depending on the time of day, you can see the sunlight coming in right before the boss. And that dungeon tells a story, too. There are NPCs that have chat bubbles. There are, and one of the things I really like is there are extra rooms, right? And, Hawk Manor has extra rooms with extra treasure chests. It really is chapping my ass that there's not anything. So even in Hawk Manor, after everyone leaves, I still will return, and I might run over to see if there's any manor polish. Or what wax or whatever it is. Some dungeons, like, which one was it that had the water stain note? Totorak. People hate Totorak. I don't mind Totorak. In fact, I miss when it used to be you had to pick one of the bosses to fight. You couldn't do them all. But, they try to tell a story. Totorak, Temtera Hard, and Stone... What's one of the first ones in Heaven's Word?
What is that? Dusk Vigil?
Dusk Vigil, where it's got like all the notes. Right? So all those have notes. All of those tell stories. But what they're talking about here is even more subtle, where the environment itself is telling you a story. So I thought that was actually really, really cool. They talk about, doing a check. So they, actually playing it and doing a check about it. And I don't know what kind of instructions they get about, right? So they're talking about, the event planners, and they say, well, we need a dungeon for the end of this patch, and it should be kind of here, and they have to work with battle planners that give them ideas for bosses. There's a lot of thought into going into these dungeons, even though some of them kind of feel like soulless loot tunnels. But it looks like a lot of really good, interesting thought goes into some of them. And it's way easy to just like roll into your roulette and just be like, here we are again. But I've still found occasionally I'll spin my camera around as I'm running and I'll notice stuff in a dungeon I've already done 10 times.
One of them that, it doesn't mention it in here as far as I can tell, but one of them is, what's the dungeon? I think it's the Athochemical facility or whatever. But one
facility?
Of them. Yeah, when we do the hard mode, and it's the museum of all those creatures and things.
Oh, what's the one where the exile is at the beginning of it?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And you don't even know, if you didn't do the Beast Tribe dailies, you don't even know why he's there, how he got there.
Right, it's not understood that he's looking for really the past of the Ixal, why the Ixal came to be. There's a lot of stuff that's just tied in lore-wise that people just may not understand when you're just, I don't know, popping a story potion or a job level potion and going into it. And maybe not even that. You're just running through and skipping story and you're not understanding what's behind it. But there is some really good lore, and I really like when there's a plaque or a book, which one of those dungeons that maybe it's a Great Google Library.
Well, that has the succubus story in it, right?
Yeah, and but there's some that talk about like what the Garleans' middle names, the Zaz and all those things stand for, your ranking. There's just little stuff that's all through these dungeons.
But so many times though, you just run right past it because whatever. You
don't have time to sit and read, right? Well, everybody's running to the end.
So I got Tamtara hard as a roulette this week, and some guy was brand spanking new, and they weren't reading the notes as we went through. And when we got kind of towards the middle, we're like, dude, when we're done, hit return and go and read all those notes if you care at all. Because they are disturbing as fuck. That's for Stone Vigil. Those notes are disturbing as fuck. Those bosses make no sense, or make more sense if you actually read those notes. It's dark. So I don't know. It was an interesting article. It's interesting to see, or interview. It's interesting to see all the planning that goes into it. Do you remember one of the fan fests they talked about making a hard mode dungeon? So like, what's the one that has the puzzles in it? And we have a hard mode.
In which? The hard mode that's got the Karn?
So the normal mode has puzzles.
Right.
So that's like, the normal mode and the hard mode are the same location. But they really... Did you go to that panel where they talked about they had all these ideas for Karn and they really didn't kind of split them into 2 dungeons and kept kind of the lore throughout or whatever? Yeah, no, it was pretty interesting.
Wow. People get pissed with the puzzle aspects, and I really don't know why. I like some puzzle aspects.
Well, and even if you fail it, what does it cost you? 45 seconds? I mean, really.
Now, I do appreciate stuff like in the hard mode of the Arboretum, or whatever it's called, where you don't necessarily have to put the water on the mobs, but if you do, it's easier. Right. So maybe puzzles that it makes things easier if you do this thing, but it's not really necessary to go through it. So once you're over-geared for it or something, it doesn't matter. But when you're still at level, if you do the puzzle aspect, it makes things easier for you. One of the most innovative dungeons in this entire game is Bardam's Medal. And that is because of the puzzle aspect of the second boss. It is that boss we've all been asking for prior to Stormblood, the boss that teaches you mechanics. The thing that we thought might be in a gold saucer or in where the smiths are taking you through.
I totally expected it to be Hall of the Intermediate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Or where the striking dummies are, so you can do the, what's that called? Stone Sky Sea?
Yeah.
If they would put do these mechanics.
I still think there's a place for that, like a shrine of what's it called in Final Fantasy? In Dragon Quest, like Shrine of Dalam or something, some place where you go to learn the jobs. Maybe there's a job master in each one that lets you run something, and you get some sort of gear, or at least the DPS master, kind of like how the Smiths are, but the Hall of the Intermediary, and it has something. I feel like there's still some room for that, but maybe in this game they've decided, you know what, it's easier to just run and fail and have somebody teach you.
Oh, but people get so pissy about failing, and maybe that's a community issue. I really wonder how the Japanese handle it. Do they go into stuff blind? I know they work differently than we do. And what goes in a party finder, what goes in a roulette or just party finder versus duty finder. Don't they party find until you can duty find, or duty find until you can party find? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah. Or the Chinese were also, they did something very different, like where they hardly ever use one method and they use a different one.
Well, one of them only uses duty finder. They pre-make almost everything, even though the game's like just queue up. And in English anyway, it's like just queue up. So, oh well. Don't even get me started though. I was reading Tales from the Duty Finder, Some Make You Laugh, Some Make You Cry on the official forums this week. And so many of them are all about people who have no business in the storyline dungeons that they're in. They don't have gear. There is still no minimum eye level on those
No,
things.
I see a problem with that.
Bad. No, people use a fucking jump potion, do like a couple of things, don't know what any of their buttons do, and then, they do a bad job. That's not the player's fault. The game lets you do that. Now, I'm not saying everything has to be, super rigid, but people are queuing up for stuff they should be. In fact, somebody posted their own story. They did a roulette, not really thinking they get kicked into something higher level than gear score than them, but it led them in some dungeon where they had no hit points. They had they're like, the game should not have let me queued in for that.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had to help people. I had a healer. One episode, I think I talked about this. Had a healer that had almost all broken gear. Their weapon was way lower, and this was something easy like Aurum Vale, but their weapon was something like level 15 or something. They just had not upgraded their stuff. We were like, just put anything on, just do anything, and they had picked up a few pieces. At something at that level, they probably are ignorant to what's going on. But when you're getting into the 50s and 60 dungeons, you're picking up gear. The game is giving you gear, and you're choosing not to upgrade your gear. That there's something wrong with that.
Well, and there's a difference between your main, what you consider your primary job. The game hands you stuff for that, and you probably are overgeared on that. But your secondary, tertiary, or I'm doing my, 14th job or whatever we're at. I'm working on my 12th job. But if you're doing that, you should know what NPC will sell you something cheap. Or what, I just hit 60. I'm pretty much going to go farm up some tombstones and then gear it out before I go on. Because I don't want to be a detriment to my party. And the game doesn't really teach you that other than locking you out of some stuff. But it doesn't lock you out of some of the important stuff. Storyline stuff, I don't know. Well, and if you don't do your job quests. So Ulf and I both have had many job quests that just kicked our ass. And then we're like, took a look at our gear, and now we're like, oh fuck. I've been running Palace of the Dead for 10 levels. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you run Palace of the Dead, your gear doesn't matter. You queue into something, it lets you into a storyline dungeon, which doesn't have a gear check, eye level requirement, and you're fucking yourself and everyone else over. I really wish they'd fix that. Really, really bad. So, anyway, let's move on to something happier. I don't know. Tabletop gaming makes me happy. And Ruby, when you mentioned, hey, Yelta, did you notice this yet? And I had not. There's new tabletop gaming items added to the tabletop section of the Square Enix online store. I didn't even know they had a tabletop section.
I really wasn't aware until I saw a tweet about this recently. We knew that this Final Fantasy XIV Gold Saucer Cactpot Party game was coming. It's on pre-order now, so if you go to the Square Enix store, you can go to the merchandise section, Final Fantasy Tabletop Games, and we were aware that this was coming out. There's also a Tomb Raider game that's coming out for pre-order. But I wasn't aware of the other stuff. There is a Final Fantasy transparent playing card set, and we were all like, ooh, the playing cards for Final Fantasy XIV that are coming with the box, but this set is actually really nice looking. Yelta and I looked through this, pictures, of course, before we podcasted. Kefka's the Joker, and it's, through each of the suits, you've got Final Fantasy 1 through 4, 5 through 6, 7 through, I think, 11, and then 12 through 15. So you've got the Scions of the Seventh Dawn as, I think, maybe the diamonds in this set. So it's pretty sweet-looking set. There's other board games, Chocobo playing cards themselves, and then some sleeves for the trading card set. But very, very nice stuff. I'm like Yelta. I was unaware that there was a tabletop game section at all, and it's nice to see them expand the tabletop gaming. One thing I know is Kariri Sumasu, former host, is a big tabletop gaming fan, and I'm hoping that Yelta and Kariri get to play one or more of these games.
I'm just buying this right now, by the way. So I'm just buying the
while we're podcasting. You're buying this?
I'm in my.
That's okay. I've got the trading cards the playing cards in the.
I'm probably getting some of the playing cards too, but right now I'm buying. I had sent Kariri a if I buy this, will you play it with me? Message, and I never saw a response, but she doesn't check her Discord that much anymore. So I'm just gonna fucking buy it, and we will learn it, and then maybe in a couple months we will we can maybe even talk intelligently about this on an episode. So that I think that'd be fun. Cactpot. It looks like a legit board game, right? So many board games are like whatever, they just threw a cactar on it and called it a Final Fantasy game. So I'm kind of hoping this is like a game with interesting mechanics and stuff. So look forward to that. I'm sure she will if I ask her nice. All right. Where are we? Let's see. So let us move on. We're going to go to a reminder. We want to remind our listeners that the Letter from the Producer Live is Saturday, March 23rd at 6 p.m. PDT. They're going to talk world lore with Banri Oda, world lore creator and main scenario writer. And there is a designated thread that you can go and submit questions. I haven't looked lately to see what questions are there. So that'll be interesting.
First off, 6 p.m. PDT to Eastern Time Zone. 9 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. So is that 8 o'clock our time? Let's look at CST. I just want to know what time I need to be around to watch this shit.
Well, 6 p.m. PDT.
And that is
That's
PM,
8.
right?
PDT's just California, right?
Okay.
It's 8.
Okay. That's not some special magic time zone that I'm not thinking of.
They've started.
Pacific.
I thought they've been giving us PDT because that's California, where the office.
Fair enough. This is in English, so right. I guess I shouldn't expect them to be putting this in Japan Standard Time.
I think they've done that to us before, which is why we're twitchy about it. Right? Mm-hmm. So, just as a note, remember, the Square Enix Twitch channel will have English language coverage, but the Final Fantasy XIV has a Twitch channel that's Japanese. One of the links is going to take you to Japanese language, one of them is going to take you to English. So the Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel is going to be Japanese. The official Square Enix Twitch channel will be in English. So click the right link. Do go to the Lodestone. I don't know. If people, my husband just said some shit to me today about, thank God I married someone who reads the patch notes. And, right? So I do suggest that, if you are wondering what's up, there's just like one news button and just scroll down. They have large friendly pictures and everything. So you can, keep up to date. Or just listen to us. That's cool too.
Yeah, just tune in. And that's the live letter. We're also going to have a keynote, which I would imagine is the day before.
Interested in.
Yeah, right. And I think that's what's going to be on the 22nd, which I'm hoping that, I get to cover that live with the Work to Game crew.
Yeah.
So that's the part that, that we're going to be hearing about, where we don't get Male Vieira and that we only get one new job.
I want to know if the Japanese people get just fucking silent like we did.
Well, this is my theory. If I haven't said this before, this is my theory. That the Japanese audience, being a more respectful audience, will just have a silent disappointment when this happens. And Yoshida knows this. And that if he had waited for the North America Fan Fest to be last, or EU for that matter, but really for North America, can you imagine if the North America Fan Fest he goes, hey, 2 jobs and 2 races, 1 male, 1 female.
Rioting in the street.
They may not find the body.
We may have booed. Well, okay, we're not murderous, but we may have booed out loud. I really felt when they were talking about Blue Mage, we got really excited and then completely fucking silent.
Oh, yeah, it's like what we talked about that article last week that was like it went from, there was this collective happiness, and then later we found out, but the way they worded it was like there was this gap of time when we figured, no, we're talking about like the 45 seconds or less that we went from,
oh, Blue Mage, it's a limited job. What the fuck does that mean? You can't queue up for anything, and it's gonna be fun, yo. I guess.
And it's gone.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have seen Blue Mage parties, even as late as this week. I still need to go back in and get my dungeon abilities, but I haven't.
Yeah, I've got more to do on Blue Mage. I shouldn't shit on it much.
No,
I've got...
It's fun for what it is, but damn.
There is this question and answer. Well, not an answer. I guess they'll answer what they want to answer. But this question thread... Mm-hmm. Looks like there's some good ones in here.
Yeah, there's like some Zodiac versus...
Getting too deep.
Hydaelyn, and there's,
Here's Necromancer job. People are still talking about that. I can see a Necromancer job as something that could happen at some point, but then that's them getting outside of the traditional stuff, I suppose.
And I know people keep saying, well, they pretty much, we have tons of jobs. There's not that many more jobs they could throw at us. And I'm like, bullshit. Have you played some of these games?
Yeah, go load up Final Fantasy 3 or 5. And you've even got weird stuff like in 13. We don't have any Ravagers. There's jobs that we've not seen at all, not even close to it. So they could come up with some wild shit.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be opposed to a completely unique Final Fantasy 14 set of jobs.
Yeah, which is why we'll only get 2.
Oh my god, Ruby! You keep saying that because it cuts me like a knife, right? Because multiple new jobs should not A, count Blue Mage, and B, should be more than 2.
2 is a multiple.
Oh my god,
2 is a multiple of 2. Listen, go ask Construct 9.
Let's go do math. Let's when we're done with this, we're gonna go do MathBot, and I'll die. But I still be
1 is not a prime number.
Oh,
every time I run that, somebody wants to shout that 1 is not a prime number.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah, and
was your mom a math teacher? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Just
they were probably sleeping with their math teacher, so. All right.
No, that's hot.
I had to make it sexy there at the end. All right. There was no new dev blog. I was sad. It's still the Little Ladies' Day is the top one there. I hit refresh again just in case.
What are they doing to us,
I don't know.
Are they holding out for next week? Are they holding out all the
you're
news?
Probably right. Really, right now, they're like Japanese Fan Fest is all. And then, they're probably already working on, they're going to do a live letter that's here's all the job changes. They're probably still working on the job changes,
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking if they probably need a new North American rep, right? Shannon's left us.
We're down, yeah.
I love you, Shannon. Shannon's left us, and if they hired me, you would already know all this shit. They can't hire me for the North American rep. Everybody would know everything. Loose lips sink airships, and I would have.
You can't keep a secret. Is that what you're telling me, Ruby?
I'm squeaky.
Oh my god!
I would have let everything.
Fly to your town and kill you now because you're
girl. Have you heard about Dancer? Have you heard about the
we know
Rothgar?
There's like 2 people who either are loose lips or who are pretending to be loose lips because we have I haven't seen any juicy leaks info lately. Have you?
Not lately. They've shot those people. I think.
Did you think they've had them assassinated by now?
I think something has happened. Boris or somebody has met them in a dark alley somewhere, and it's over. We're not getting any more leaks anytime soon. And what's sad is I wish these leaks were leakier. I wish there was a lot more to these leaks. They're trickles.
Okay, so I hate spoilers, but. But it is a little sexy to hear a leak. But I don't really like spoilers, and I'm not a huge fan of just making guesses. about stuff randomly. A lot of people spend a lot of time and energy, trying to guess what's going to happen. And I'm usually just happier to wait and see, but I'm dying. So please tell us soon.
I just don't want Tokyo Fan Fest to feel lame.
So that's my only reason I'm forgiving them for I feel like the NA Fan Fest, I feel like the EU Fan Fest, both were like, they were good. They were fun. They had good stuff. But so much of it was like, especially the EU Fan Fest was like, oh, you finally gave us some screenshots of the stuff you gave us concept art for at American Fan Fest. Or, you just confirmed something you leaked or hinted at strongly yourselves at NA Fan Fest. So Japanese Fan Fest hopefully will, blow us out of the water.
Well, my previous theory, this being a Japanese game, and I'm talking about a Realm Reborn theories, original Fan Fest, was that the Japanese get the best shit, right? They save the best for last.
No, but it always felt like they blew their wad before the
but when we got to Heaven's Word, I felt like they were trying to show out for the North American audiences, and this time I feel the same, that the North American audiences are the most ravenous, unruly, we want it all and we want it now. Cue Freddie Mercury.
We're a ton of entitled assholes, too, over here.
We are, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's going to be in my head now, thanks.
You're welcome.
What was the other song we were singing earlier, but this is now replacing it?
I don't remember. It was a good one, though. It was some 90s classic. It'll come back to me. But I think that they give now the North American audiences the biggest news. So if that's the case,
what's left for
we're
Japan?
in for trouble. We're in trouble.
See, I already feel like they've not told us enough. I feel like at the American Fan Fest, I feel like when they were doing Heavensward and Shadowbringers, I felt like they showed us more, told us more.
15,000 people are going to be there.
See, Japanese Fan Fest is going to be huge.
Cut Yoshida into 15,000 pieces.
No, let's not cut him up. I
won't be cutting him up into 15,000 pieces. Get pitchforks. Who were we talking to? That was somebody that was talking about there was a sale. That was Deli on Twitter was talking about a sale of pitchforks and torches at Ace Hardware or something in preparation for Japanese Fan Fest.
Were they tiki torches? Because that's the most... I'm going to just edit myself there because tiny white boys with tiki torches marching.
It's just... Listen, we're not going there.
We're not going there. Y'all suck. But, let's move on. All right. Tokyo Fan Festival, I hope you're awesome. It's time for happy hour. Except for this isn't that happy, Ruby.
Oh, boy.
I'm actually fairly sad about what happened here. I got a Discord message that said, "Hi, how would you like a story to add fuel to the fire of how messed up the new terms of services are? See below link," is what I posted. So, this is awful, guys. This is really awful. So, you know that fairly recently they changed the terms of services, and I thought this was going to be a juicy way that, somebody got a fake ban or whatever. I'm going to say right now, I don't really think this story proves that the existing terms of services is bad. It proves that people are awful. But I'm going to tell you the story. So I got into a Discord chat with this person, and I was, first of all, happy to have some feedback, hear something from someone or whatever. And I did clear it from Eve that it's okay if I share this story. And I can share anything I want about it and whatever. So that came right first of all. So I have screenshots. I have her screenshots of chats. I have her screenshots of, I don't know if they're Discord chats or Facebook chats or what they are, but let me scroll. I want to say it right. Okay, so basically what happened was Eve and her boyfriend were looking for a house in the Lavender Beds. This is in-game Final Fantasy XIV. You know, we all know the housing system is fucked, right?
Yep.
Right. So they're looking for a house in the Lavender Beds, and they found one that was empty. No one owned it, and it sounds like they were doing a move and not a first-time buy. So if people don't know, if you've never owned a house, you have to wait for the timer to count down. So what happens is, if Ruby sold his house and Ulf went to buy it, and he'd never owned a house before, he has to stand there and keep clicking the sign. Meanwhile, Yelta already owns a house, but she wants to move. I can just walk up to that sign and buy the house. For better or worse, that's how it works. So anyway, Eve and her boyfriend found a house they wanted, and there was a lady standing there by the sign, and this lady sent a tell that, please don't fight me on this house, like I was here first, just let me buy it. And of course the boyfriend didn't answer because it's like, don't engage, whatever. And that's where you're probably smart, because the terms of service, if you had gotten into an argument there, you might have gotten in trouble. So anyway, what happened was they were relocating. So Eve and her boyfriend were able just to buy this house, quote, out from under the other player. It sucks, but that has happened to both Ulf and I. We have stood there house after house clicking the sign, and someone walks up and just takes it. But where my story and this story differ is, I didn't spend the next how many days harassing the person who bought the house. So anyway, So they moved they had a house in the Goblet. They moved to the Lavender Beds. And the person did not start the harassment in game. I think there were some tells or whatever. But then what really happened was that Eve started getting a bunch of Facebook notifications of friend requests and message requests. And Eve was in a dungeon playing the game at the time, and Eve looked at it, and they don't know any of these people and whatever. And then if she clicked into the messages at all, it was a bunch of profanity. And there's screenshots here, and they've blanked out all the names, but it's stuff like, this is all on Facebook. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That house was fucking mine. Fuck you, fuck you. And then from another person was, hello, my name is Tyler. I'm sorry this is happening, but the person you bought the house out from under is my girlfriend, and she's mentally ill. So this person's like trying to reason or whatever. And wow. But at the same time, and it's still happening, and there's a picture, there's like screenshots of just fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That house was mine. Go die in a fucking fire. And kill yourself. One of them's like, I'm going to go look for your daughters and fucking murder them. You all deserve to fucking die.
Jesus Christ.
Right? So this is not right. So she's getting all these friend requests that are all like, and I think she said later on that a lot of them were like Facebook names that were close to this person's in-game name. The person who bought the house's in-game name. And they're going into these communities on Facebook that they're part of, which, and in fact, got the person, Eve, who bought the house, kicked out of one of these communities because it made it look like it was them. They since got reinvited back in or whatever, but so this is, first, I'm not defending this activity at all. This is awful and should not happen, but I think and then that other boyfriend of the person who's doing all the harassment's like trying to apologize and whatever, and it's just like, this is not acceptable human behavior.
No, not at all, and not in any way, shape, form is this acceptable. If you are dating somebody like this, you need to figure out your own priorities and where you're going in life as well. None of this is acceptable. The gist, I guess, here is the TOS doesn't really kick in because a lot of these things are done outside of the game.
Right.
So how does the TOS stop this thing? And it really doesn't.
Well, Square Enix can't police Facebook.
No,
right?
but Facebook can police Facebook. Discord can police Discord. Twitter can police Twitter. And I would urge somebody, if you were being harassed outside of game on a social media platform, to use their methods of reporting to have this kind of thing stopped. This is appalling. This is disgusting. Nobody's baby should be eaten, etc., over a fucking pixelated house. None of that shit matters in the real world.
Oh, we've all had the sad when we didn't get the house.
I had it.
Ruby, you were so upset with yourself that you clicked the wrong thing, and we didn't get that one house. I logged in. Was that a sign I didn't get a house? You know, this shit happens in the game, but it's not Eve's fault that she was able to purchase that house and the other person wasn't. It sucks. And I have sympathy that the in-game system of housing acquisition is awful. And I would fully expect Square Enix to act upon any in-game or on their official forum they should be responding to in dealing with harassment. But bottom line, though, this harassment didn't happen in 14, and I don't think Square Enix can do anything about it, nor do I think they should. How easy would it be for me to create a Facebook account that looked like it was maybe Rubicon Veils, and I'm be a total bitch to everybody and break some rules or whatever? I would not. And
nobody's my friend anymore.
Well, I wouldn't want Square Enix to ban Rubicon Veil based on someone's pretending to be him.
Rubicon_Veil.
So
an asshole.
But at the same time, this shit shouldn't happen anyway. Facebook needs to stop this shit somehow. That I don't know what happens when someone's harassing you that badly on Facebook, but I'm assuming there's some way to report them. It sounds like they actually needed some serious banning too from Facebook. That whole IP address range or something should have been banned. But again, even Facebook, I don't know how much they can do about this. I don't think it's the terms of services issue, but I do think this is completely unacceptable, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because this is not the first time I've read this story. Not this specific story, but I have read through the years many, not even all of this game, but it's like, and someone mentioned, changing their name. Well, on Final Fantasy XIV, changing your name doesn't change your link to the lodestone. You're a number. So if I was being horribly harassed and I changed my name to try to hopefully not be harassed anymore in 14, doesn't matter. If someone had bookmarked my profile, they know my new name now. So that might be also an issue too, but it's like, again, if some of the stuff happened in-game, that person should have definitely been banned. And they've changed it now too, so there's many levels of banning. You can get kind of a short timeout or a bit of a longer one, or there's all the way up to a permaban. And yeah, maybe this person who's doing the harassment should have been permabanned, but there's nothing actionable, sadly, in 14 for them to do that. GMs can look at the logs. I've reported lots of people, Ruby. I really have. I've reported lots of people, and I have put the timestamp in my log messages so that when I cut and paste the section of the log and send it in my initial message to the game, to the GMs, I will, report for harassment. I paste it in there. They have the ability then to go look at the in-game logs over on their server.
Yeah.
They can see the entire context. That's why, honestly, I don't fear too much if I say, I'm sorry, this isn't working out, and I kick someone, even if I get reported, I have full faith that the GMs can go back and look and see what was going on before and after that happened. So if someone reports me for saying, I'm sorry, you're not pulling your weight, I'm hoping that someone at Square Enix can say, well, they spent, 20 minutes before that trying to help you, and you still did nothing and told you to fuck off.
When you type Gray fucking Parsons.
I would never type Gray fucking Parsons, but...
Then Yelta's banned for life. No, this kind of reminds me, and not to get into it, some of this reminds me of the post that we weren't going to read, only in the sense that we were talking about the name change, talking about things. Square Enix has to have proof to do anything. Proof your name changed. Proof that that something happened in game. If it didn't happen in the game, if they don't have legal proof to move forward, you can't do anything. I feel like this came up for something, and I don't remember if it happened at 11, if it was something in the early days of 14, but it basically boils down to this: you have to have legal proof to move forward with something, whether it's a bot, a stolen account. I think it was about the bot runs that people were wanting, I don't know, Elysium or somebody to pay the final price for selling these runs. And all this stuff was done on Discord or websites or message boards or something else. And none of this stuff was ever communicated within Final Fantasy XIV. And I'm not saying that Elysium was selling runs. I'm just saying that whenever Square Enix has to move forward with some kind of legal action, it has to be documented within its own game. It has to be done within Final Fantasy XIV, or else it's hearsay. They can't go off to some third-party site or third-party program to get the information to move forward with some legality. It causes too many issues, and it would backlash on them in some way. So,
and I wouldn't want anyone who traded someone else $1 million gil to get banned. I would trade someone $1 million gil to help them out because I have the gil. But at the same time, the gil trading limit's $1 million, so that's how RMT sends you money. Right? Yeah. So did I buy that $1 million gil, or did someone say, yo, you're a new player, or maybe you're my fucking childhood friend and you're joining the game? If Kariri joined tomorrow, I would send her 5 million gil.
Sure.
I wouldn't want to ban for that.
Yeah, and they shouldn't ban for that. They can't say, you're moving too much money. What's really going on here? That's not the way you want things to be run. That's not the way people should want things to be run. I'm going to be clear here. When things are too black and white, and people get this suspicion that something could be happening because something else, you lose your freedoms. You want freedoms in a game, in life. You want freedoms. So to say, well, once $1 million gil is traded, that person should be investigated for something. You don't want that. That's not a Pandora's box that you want to open. And investigating other party websites, you're playing a dangerous game when you want outside. You want to get outside sources for evidence of things. Let Square Enix follow its own policies. Let it do its own legal stuff. Again, for the posts that we're not going to talk about, people are going like, I know what post Ruby's talking about. You've got to show legality. If you had your name changed.
I have shown I'm a married woman. I have shown my papers that I changed my name.
You gotta show the proof of something. I would hate for Yelta to say, fuck Ruby, I'm going to say I'm Rubicon Vale and have something switched over so I can take his account or change something of his or whatever else. You got to follow protocol. I work in an industry that if you don't follow the protocol, somebody could be out tens of thousands of dollars. You got to follow the protocol for sure. Who gets what information, whose identification gets checked. And Square Enix has its own legal reasons for doing what it's doing. Back to the matter at hand with the TOS, they just have to follow what's in game, or else they open themselves up to lawsuits. That's really it.
Yeah. Well, what's really funny is this all came up, and then yesterday, so I only heard about that one Reddit post today, but so yesterday, my husband was going to surprise me by taking over our Direct TV bill. Right? I set up our Direct TV. He set up our AT&T. Our names aren't really on both. So he spent 3 hours on the phone. Now, mind you, right now AT&T has DirecTV. It's all bundled, but the DirecTV bill comes to me, and the AT&T bill goes to him. All he wanted to do was take that off my hands, but he couldn't because he needed my Social Security number, which he knows, but they needed me on the phone authorizing it. You know, this stuff happens. You know, he was pretty pissed off, and he's not very good. Love you, Ulf, but he's not very good on the phone with service people. The man spent 3 hours being transferred around, but you know, business and sadly, these people you're dealing with are usually just like working a desk and taking 30 calls an hour, right? They're trying to help you, but you're one of 30, and you have to, you know, it's sometimes hard to get promoted to the next line of service or whatever. And I don't know. It's hard. However, I just want to bottom line it here. That sort of shit should not be acceptable on this planet. You should not get screens and screens of messages saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. No. I would actually be mad at Facebook that I couldn't send them screenshots and that IP address be banned or those accounts be banned. I've personally taken a day or two off of a certain social media site when I've gotten, you know, Twitter has, you know, block for a little while buttons. Yeah. You know, this shit is, humans aren't always very nice. But my too long didn't read version was, a lady bought a house out from under someone else who was waiting for the timer. The other person stalked and harassed her out of game. Not really a fail of the new terms of service. Because honestly, Square Enix has always refused to take action based on out-of-game / official forum activity. Doesn't make it right, but I really think Square Enix can't do much here. And I'm very, very sorry to Eve that this is happening to her. I keep meaning to send another message asking for an update if it's gotten any better, because that shit ain't right. That people should not treat each other like that. All right, last call. I think you had a shout out.
Yeah, but I gave it. That was for Katie at the beginning.
Katie,
so thanks. But we really do like when we're in dungeons and stuff, and you shout out Yelta and I. So we really appreciate when you holler at us when we're in something. It makes us feel good. And then when we die at the end of the dungeon, we're like,
oh, no.
Fuck.
What's really funny is when people says, oh man, you're Yelta from are you that Yelta? Are you that Yelta is what I get sometimes. And I'll be like, yes. And then I spend the entire time going, oh, I better do a really awesome job healing.
Don't die, don't die, don't die.
I know. But I love it all the same. I've gotten to the end of a couple dungeons and people are like, I recognized your name, but I didn't want to say anything. And I'm like, oh, bitch, say something.
Yes, we like it.
Feed my soul. No, we love it. We love it so much. All right, it's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You can find links to all of our episodes and blog posts on our website, www.gtffxiv.com. While you're there, please leave us a comment. And thank you for those who have. Some of the comments have been, you know, your episode was missing all the music, but I don't think we did that last time.
No, all right. We got it right this past time.
And if you'd like to, you can support us by clicking the donation button. We appreciate all those donations. You can find us on Twitter at GTFFXIV. You can email us at gtffxiv@gmail.com. Please rate us on whatever podcasting download system you use. Personal plugs, Ruby.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at RubiconVale, RubiconVale.
And you can find me on Twitter at Yelta Sumasu, YeltaSumasu. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.